This is the Georgia Dawgs Podcast on the Believe Podcast Network.
Doesn't it? Oh, it did. Joe Cox with an up and out. Wide open. Touchdown. Israel Troupe.
Snap to Young. Drops back. Pressure from the edges. He throws near sideline. And it's intercepted. Intercepted. Keely Ringo at the 21. Off he goes. 40, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. Near sideline. Breaks the tackle. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. 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 Georgia.
Good evening, neighborhood. How about them Dawgs?
32, 18. Let the celebration begin.
That's right. As you heard, let the celebration begin. My favorite part of that is still John Glore. That won't get old. And that was a beautiful pump fake by Joe Cox. We never mentioned that, but it got that DB to bite. You were wide open. Were you surprised how wide open you were?
I was. We've been working that play all week. It was originally meant for AJ, and I was supposed to be on the other side. Mm-hmm. But when he went down, obviously I moved over there. So it
was a good thing you paid attention.
There you go.
Yeah, you're a self-described turd, but you want a turd for that week. So got you a touchdown, right? I see your Twitter posts.
Look, my turd story is I wasn't getting in trouble all the time. Mine was just not going to class.
Yeah.
You know? And I always felt like if I took a test that week, there was no point going back. But clearly there was class checkers, so I got caught all the time.
You had to
going to class.
And they had every exit, right?
Yes, every exit was covered, and you never know. They're hiding bushes and everything.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get you, man. If they're gonna get you, they're gonna get you. But that voice you hear, if you're on the audio side, is Israel Troupe. Follow us on social media. It's scrolling down below. I'm not even going to read it out to you. But we are brought to you by Betonline.ag. It's the number one spot. Football might be over, but it's not. It doesn't matter. March Madness is heating up. The SEC tournament, that nail biter of a game last night between Georgia and Vandy. If you bet on that one and you took Vandy, congratulations. But they have all the latest odds in the rest of the tournament, and then March Madness. I'm sure there'll be some pools there that you can get in on. I'm sure there'll be another promo for our read next week, or actually I'll do a quick read for next week, but I'll be out of town. But anyway, from the latest odds, totals, player performance, props, BetOnline is the number one spot for all your sports betting needs. So do what we did. Head over to the website or use your mobile devices to sign up today. Receive that 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to get started. That's BLEAV. And it's not only basketball, but you can bet on hockey, boxing, UFC, even tennis. Right down to your favorite Vegas casino games. BetOnline is your number one online wagering destination. It is the fastest, easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports and play all your favorite games. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. So, Israel, maybe the people, including you, will have a better go at betting than I did.
And I hope so during football season. Like I said, Auburn 2 times messed up my parlays this season. So
stay away from them.
I think I'm going to stay away from anything that has the Auburn Tigers involved.
There you go. That's usually a good plan, right? So I mentioned the nail biter of a game last night. If you don't have your sarcasm meter going at this hour, I was being extremely sarcastic. That was an ass kicking. That was probably one of those games where out of the gate you just knew, yeah, this ain't happening. It was like over, I think it was 35 points at one time that we were down by. 19% from the field in the first half, just ugly, turning the ball over. I mean, just looking like they're just ready to pack it on up and move it on out. So,
man, the first 6 minutes, me and my wife were in here watching it. I watched Vandy shoot the ball 5 times, and they got every single rebound off of 5 misses and finally scored on the 6th shot. we go right back down and we turn the ball over. We turn the ball over twice.
Mm-hmm.
They go down the second possession and shoot 9 times and get 9 rebounds and shoot on the 10th one, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, we did a great job of boxing out. We just weren't getting the rebound. We weren't trying to get the rebound.
No.
We ended up losing that game by I turned away for a little bit, go take a shower, come back, and we're down by 20. And I said, dang, that escalated quickly. And I looked this morning, and it was, 86 to 25, 88, what was it, 86 to 56? Well, we lost by 30.
Yeah, we lost by 30. Scottie Pippen Jr. had a big night. I'll tell you the exact score. I'll be honest, I quit paying attention. So, yeah, that's not good. That's just not good.
You know, it's bad when they say that, I forget what his name was, our big center. They say he always goes to the right 58% of the time. And I was like, clearly, not that many. Yes, he did. He went to the right every single time.
Yeah, it was bad. The final score was 86 to 51.
That's it. I knew we got beat by 35 points.
86 to 51. It was basically the Scottie Pippen Jr. highlight show. I'll tell you how many points he had. He had it felt like way more than 14, but he had 14 points in 23 minutes. It was kind of evenly distributed amongst the Vandy players. You had Miles Stute and Jordan Wright both chipping in with 11. Shane Dezzoni with 10. You had Tyron Lawrence with 7. Rodney Chapman with 8. Let's see if we had any double-digit anything. It just, you look at the numbers and like you expect somebody to jump out, but nobody really jumped out. Oquendo had 11 points. Braylon Bridges had 15. You had Braylon Bridges had a double-double. Had 11 boards and 15 points. And we get 30-pieced. Needless to say, the curtain has been pulled on Tom Crean, which is, I guess, the point of it all. I mean, last night was just a stinker, but it pretty much summed up the season as a whole. I mean, we set records for the worst conference record in the history of the program. Most just season losses in the history of the program, and probably, if you really wanted to deep dive, the most 20-point losses in program history, and a history that's rich with losing and irrelevancy. This is pretty impressive. So Tom Crean exiting not on a good note.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, you already know. So, any last thoughts on Tom Crean? If you look at the big picture of it, I know it seems like he did more harm than good at this moment, but I mean, there were some bright spots, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was coming into a stressful situation to begin with. They really didn't have anybody. You lose, your top guys to other schools within the conference. A couple years ago when we first started, you were talking, we were doing this, and I said, let's give him a chance. He was doing some good stuff. They were playing hard at the beginning, but something changed. Obviously, when those guys transferred, there was a problem then. That wasn't
9 guys transfer.
And then now it's gotten to, you're getting beat by 30, not just in like a regular game. And you're playing like the number 1 team in the nation. You're playing Vandy, the SEC championship game, as the 2 lowest seeds, and you're getting blown out by 30, 35.
Yeah.
So clearly there was something going on within the culture of the team. And it's really bad when Georgia basketball is not elite. Well, men's basketball is not elite, just like, the girls are competitive on their side. Baseball's being competitive, softball, tennis, gymnastics. I mean, we're coming off a national championship in football.
Literally everything else.
One sport is not producing. So, I know Josh is going to do their due diligence. They have a national search crew. But in my opinion, and this is just me, in order to replace him, you're going to have to bring somebody young. It's not going to take an old guy to come in here and do it, because as we've seen, if this old guy does not bring in the right assistants, the right support staff, then they're not going to be good. So if I'm Georgia, I'm bringing in a young guy that knows the landscape of Athens, Atlanta, South Carolina, the Summerville area, things like that, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi. I'm attacking those areas right now simply because that's where your talent is. I'm going to
Bingo.
AAU games.
Bingo.
I'm doing everything possible. Just like they want to. The one thing that differs between football and basketball is that you can't get a scholarship offer from AAU because it's basketball. 707 is not real football, so coaches don't look at 707. Mm-hmm. But in basketball, you can get an offer. You can get rated from AAU games. So if I'm the new head coach, as soon as I'm hired, I'm going to the nearest gym for an AAU tournament in Atlanta, and I'm recruiting my butt off. You don't even have to leave the state of Georgia. Just go to a AAU tournament and recruit.
Go about 60 miles southwest, and you're there. So, but what's been the issue with hiring basketball coaches? Ever since Tubby Smith left, we hired Jim Herrick, who is a great basketball coach, but he's a freaking sleazeball. Then you hired Dennis Felton, who just wasn't it. Then you hire Mark Fox, who was in over his head, couldn't recruit. And then you hire Tom Crean, which I guess I get why you did it, but if you really kind of look at his track record, he kind of starts like this and then goes like nosedive. Mm-hmm. So what's been can we not evaluate basketball coaches? Is it a tough sport to evaluate coaches? I mean, what seems to be the issue?
I like Coach Fox. Coach Felton was on the way out when I was coming in, so I didn't really get to know him. But Coach Fox,
Coach Fox is a great guy. He just wasn't quite dynamic enough for what we needed.
Yeah, he was a good coach, but like I said, he didn't have a good support staff around him. A head coach is only as good as his assistants. Look at the girls' side; they have some really good assistants on their side. So, I think if Coach Fox hired, a young go-getter, during that time, I think he'd have been a lot better, in my opinion. I think he's a really good coach. But like you said, he just didn't have that it factor as a coach, Yeah. And in basketball, that's what it is. It's all about having that it factor. So, like I said, if it's me, I'm getting a young, a coach that, didn't make it in the NBA. We have a really good one at Georgia State right now. I keep seeing Jonas Hayes' name thrown around a lot. So,
yeah.
I mean, these are young guys, experienced guys who know the Atlanta area, which is where the bulk of the talent's coming from.
Yeah.
So I think you just got to when you make this hire, you have to let him know that you better hire some good assistants, because if you don't, you're going to be out too. That's just me. Look at every other sport. Baseball's hire good assistants. Mm-hmm. Football's hire good assistants. Softball's hire good assistants. All the sports around you have great assistants along with their head coach. So yeah. I think that's the pedigree of what we're looking for.
Yeah, for sure. And some names that are being floated out there besides Jonas Hayes, Dennis Gates. This is I'm referencing an article from our good pals over at UJ Sports, Anthony Dasher, Roddy Nabolsi. Dennis Gates from Cleveland State. The story on him. He's got them tied for first in the regular season standings in league play. He's a 2-time Horizon Conference Coach of the Year. He was instrumental in bringing 4 top 15 recruiting classes during his tenure at Florida State as an assistant under what's his name? I'm drawing a blank. I can't think of his name, but that's yeah. Jonas Hayes, obviously, we talk about him. He's been here. He's well known in Atlanta. That would probably be. If you're looking, does somebody like Dennis Gates end up at Louisville? Like when you look at some of these top mid-major head coaches, you have to think of what else is open and what we're dealing with here as far as the hiring process goes. But Jonas Hayes, I think, would be hungry. It'd be his first head coaching job. It'd be in a program that's in a complete rebuild. So the pressure, I mean, obviously you're in the SEC, so the pressure's always big, but at a program like Georgia, we can't get much worse at all.
Yeah,
it's
only up from here. But
I mean,
you also have to be smart in this hire as well.
Yeah.
Because if you hire the wrong guy, even though it's a rebuild, then you're going to keep rebuilding every single time.
Yeah, because you're going to
hire a guy, you want him to get hired. You don't want him to just plateau out.
No, exactly. Andy Kennedy, which on SEC After Dark, I brought his name up. Steve said that would be a phenomenal hire. He spent 12 years at Ole Miss. Things just kind of got stale a little bit. But he was two-time SEC Coach of the Year, winningest coach in Ole Miss history. He has the Blazers right now, UAB at 24-7, heading into Conference USA tournament. It was his first year last year. He's been at UAB for 2 years. He spent 2 years out of basketball as a commentator. He had 22 victories last year at a new. So I think that would probably be a good option for Georgia to get their program off the ground. He knows the landscape of the SEC. He knows how to build a program. So that would be an interesting take right there. Grant McCasland, North Texas. They had their first ever trip to the NCAA tournament a year ago. This team appears to have a good chance of making it 2 straight. They're sitting at the top of the West Division in Conference USA, so they're looking at a bid. He was a top assistant at Baylor for a while, which in basketball, that's a good thing. So he would have been good. The update on him, though, he's more of a long shot probably. Nico Medved, he's in his 4th season at Colorado State. He served as head coach also at Drake University. It's a basketball school. He was a head coach at Furman, so he's been at 3 different stops. He's been in significant postseason play at all of his stops. So that might not be a bad option. I don't know how well he knows this area recruiting wise. Mike Rhodes at VCU. I don't know. Be careful going for VCU head coaches. Shaka Smart kind of fizzled out at Texas. Matt McMahon at Murray State. He's been 6 seasons in. I think he's
Morant, didn't he?
Yes, he has. They've earned the Ohio Valley Conference automatic bid. He's finished with a record of 30-2. They've had 4 straight OVC championships in his 6-year record at Murray State is 160-66, and he landed Ja Morant also. So that would be really interesting. That would be a name that I think would do really well here, especially if you can get down to Atlanta. I think it's McMahon, Jonas Hayes, and maybe you take a shot at Dennis Gates. I think if you can win at a place like Cleveland State, you're pretty good.
I think the fact that he got Morant to come to Murray State, which I don't know if you watched his documentary or his story, but he's just shooting at the gym.
Yeah.
And coach walks by and sees him, and took a chance on him, which means the guy can recruit, and that's what we need. We need a guy that can recruit basketball players.
So did this guy just become my new favorite candidate?
Now that you mentioned it, he became mine because, like I'm saying, he recruited John. He recruited
Ja Morant is in the running for MVP in the NBA. So, but I think if you can't get McMahon, just go ahead and get Jonas and let's go, right? Because Jonas knows Athens, knows what he's dealing with, can recruit in Atlanta. Has been at Georgia State, now he's at Xavier. So. I think if it's McMahon or it's Jonas Hayes, and you go with it. I think Jonas Hayes is going to be good.
Some great basketball legends from UGA, and Tasha Humphrey and Terrence Edwards. Have been speaking very highly of him as well. So, I mean, if it's me, and I know Josh Will, I'm looking to talk to some of the former players. Whether it's from the women's side or from the men's side as well. Kind of your take. What do you see that we need to do? From an outside perspective coming into. So,
yeah.
you and I are football guys, but we know coaching, and we know right now that you got to bring in a guy with high energy, high character, that can relate to kids in this day and age, that could use the transfer portal the right way. He's going to surround himself with good people. Yeah. And I think that's the recipe that the basketball team needs.
Yeah, I mean, they need something positive. I think just a little momentum with that group. I think you bring in a dynamic personality. I think somebody like Oquendo and Bridges, I think you could build a team around those two. Those two seem to be special. Crean did recruit well. He did get them on campus. He just couldn't keep them here. So he did good getting him to campus. You just can't keep them there. Now we got to have somebody who's going to keep them there. But I think whoever it is, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. You gotta. It's all about relationships. I mean, coaching, the technical aspect of coaching is so far down the list nowadays. It doesn't matter. Like I know when you become a head coach, you're going to want good character guys, because I mean, really, what it comes down to, you can teach somebody whatever you want to teach them. You can get somebody to know whatever you want them to know. They've got to be good people, and they've got to have good relationships and be good developers and know how to teach. And if they can do that, you'll be totally fine.
You're gonna win. You're gonna win ball games. You're gonna win. You're gonna win the fans. You're gonna win. First of all, you're gonna win your team over, and then you're gonna win the fan. Then you're gonna win the school, and then everything just goes into place after that. So
yeah,
you just got to find that guy that's gonna come in. He knows what he's getting into. Knowing that we're not a bad basketball team, we just lack the fundamental aspect of basketball. Like, don't dribble in front of four people and then try to throw the ball around them.
Yeah, we just all of a sudden fell off the map, and it was a lack of focus, lack of development. Like, I don't know what was going on at practice, but I mean, you could just see. I forget. I think it was the Vandy game a few weeks ago at Vandy, where you saw the team just quit.
Yeah, they quit last night.
No, they definitely quit last night, but they quit long before that. Like they've been mailing it in, with the exception of Oquendo, because I think he's trying to put some NBA tape together. But you see it, like they're not together. They play like five guys at the rec center that said, "Hey, we got next." And it's guys that never played with each other, and so it's everybody like trying to do their own thing, and they end up turning the ball over, taking bad shots, and doing stupid stuff, and then not playing on the defensive end and not getting rebounds, and it was just bad. And a lot of it was
go get some of them football players, and put them on the team.
Yeah,
and I bet you
Darnell Washington. Darnell Washington would be a freight train coming down. Can you imagine him coming down the lane and ripping it on somebody? Man.
You got Eric Gilbert back.
Got Eric Gilbert? Yes.
Lad McConkey at point.
Yeah.
Keely Ringo at small forward. I mean,
throw Stetson. Throw Stetson at point, man. He can dish it. I love it, man. Facts. Very, very much facts. But whoever it is, I'm sure. I finally feel good about the AD who's making the hire. I thought, and don't get me wrong, Tom Crean, I'm sure, is a great guy, great personality, whatever. But I feel like it was lazy. I feel like it was kind of a lazy hire.
Yeah, being a great guy get you fired.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to be a butthole.
Sometimes you do. So, but whoever Josh Brooks hires, I'll be good with. I know he's got good judgment. He's had. I mean, I don't have any reason to doubt him right now. He's made every other hire he's made. Every other decision he's made has been really good. So
every decision so far, even down to Stalker, has been a good one. So I mean, we can't knock him yet.
No, can't. So, but anyway, we shall see. So keep your ears tuned. Keep your ears locked for that. So. Well, the rest of the SEC tournament, I was going to check in on tonight's action. Have you watched any of the games tonight?
I was watching I saw the Vandy game. It just started right before we got on. I mean, it's pretty much up for the grabs. I see my Ole Miss Rebels were knocked out yesterday. They played a really good game.
They just kind of lost it there at the end. They kind of fell apart.
I think they gave out of steam and got a little tired, but I mean, I think it's up for the grabs now. I think it's going to be Auburn and Kentucky, and I think Kentucky's going to end up beating them for the championship there.
Yeah, it's hard. Like it's hard to beat a team 3 times or twice. A&M got a huge win over Florida. Yeah, that was an exciting game. A&M over Florida. Came down to the wire. A&M pulled out a nice win there. Mississippi State thumped South Carolina, which Mississippi State was lower seeded, which didn't make sense, but they thumped South Carolina, and LSU pulled away from Missouri, but that was a pretty good game for most of the way. So some exciting stuff coming up, but you have they're waiting for the Vandy Bama game to come back. It's second half just started. Bama's up 41-28 on that. So this, like I said, it's going to be an exciting tournament. So I'm looking forward to it. But now spring practice rolls around. Okay, we looked at the offensive line last week. We welcomed Coach Searles into the mix. Coach Searles joining us from North Carolina. He's hitting the ground running. We're going to take a look at Coach Fran Brown's group. Coach Brown's group from the new DB's coach from Rutgers University. Hired him from Greg Schiano. He comes in, takes over the DBs. Obviously, the biggest name is Keely Ringo. But when you look at this DB group, obviously Tyke Smith is going to be back in the mix, coming off an injury. He's looking to do some big things. What else do you see from this defensive back group? Like, what do you think the dynamics are going to change a little bit, or what are we thinking there?
I think the scheme stays the same. I think we're going to play the same way we did last year. We really did a good job of letting those guys play. We let Keely Ringo press. We let Kendrick press. Kind of got us beat a couple times, but I mean, they had confidence in him. For me, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Nyland Green to step up. He was a guy on my board last year who I thought would come in and make an immediate impact, but we rarely saw him. We don't know whether it's an injury or anything like that, but I'm looking for him to step. That's one person I'm looking for to step up. Yeah. But there's also a chance that, a couple of signees could, get thrown in the fire too, because we're still young in the secondary. We lost a lot to the transfer portal. But it was guys who are in backup roles now who are going to be major keys now, coming into this season, new coach, new mindset. So, everybody has a clean slate. Now it's up to you to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think, it's going to be some young guys getting in the mix. I mean, there's going to have to be some guys thrown to the fire. Chris Smith coming back, right? Mm-hmm. That's going to be a huge deal at safety. But when you're looking at corners, we got some long athletic guys coming in, some guys coming off that didn't play last year, but were on the team. I think you look at that and I mean, there's some exciting things here to look forward to as far as depth-wise. But Nyland Green, I think, is somebody you have to circle in the depth chart and say, okay, we need something out of him right now, because he has the most – I think he has the most potential out of this whole group. I mean, he comes in with the most pedigree coming out of high school. Obviously, it took him a little while to kind of get in the groove of this whole college thing. But, Keely's going to do his thing. Chris Smith's going to do his thing. Tyke Smith, if he can stay healthy, I think he can make a big impact as well. So, I just scheme wise, I don't think much is going to change with the changeover in scheme or changeover in coordinator. I don't think much is going to change there. Kamari Lassiter, I think, is somebody that I'm looking forward to seeing. What can he do coming in? Coming into his sophomore year, or when you really kind of look at it, I guess, I don't know if he took a red shirt or not, but I think that's going to be somebody that you look at and say, okay, maybe this guy's going gonna make some noise. Who's gonna take over for Lewis Seen? Who's going to be that other safety? Who's going to be that box guy that comes down and just lays the lumber? I don't know that we have that, or at least the person that we think is going to be that guy is not there. Javon Bullard, somebody that I'm looking forward to. I want to see what he can do. He came in with a lot of promise. William Poole is who's gonna take over for him. He's graduating. Lots of stories here. Dan Jackson, can he make another step? What's he gonna do? What role is he gonna play? I know he got a lot of playing time. So Fran Brown is just gonna have those guys. Again, the key for that group, I think, is just playing with that swagger. And not what the younger generation thinks is swagger, but like they come in with that confidence. Like, I know I'm about to choke you out on this line of scrimmage here. I know you're not about to get off this ball. You ain't throwing over here. I dare you. Hey Bryce, I dare you to throw over here.
It's going to come down to you throwing. You believing in yourself. I mean, I've been watching the Coach Prime episodes on YouTube, and one thing about watching Deion Sanders, there was nothing that he couldn't do because he believed in himself. And one thing about corner is that you have to believe in you. There's nobody to help you or anything like that. You got to believe in you that you're the man. So I think you have to have it. With Coach Fran coming in, I think it's going to be instilling confidence in those guys. You lose a dynamic secondary coach already. So he's going to have to keep the pedigree up. I mean, he's got to keep his foot on the neck and be like, hey, this is the standard. This is what we're going to do. And continue to build that confidence in them.
It's all about energy.
One of those things to where at corner, I mean, who's going to be the guy? And when it is defense, who's going to come hit? You're replacing one of the hardest pound for pound hitters. We've had at Georgia in a long time, and Lewis Seen, who's come down and fill in the box, like you said. Who's going to replace him? Who's going to be that guy to come down and hit? Who's going to be the other corner? We all know Keely's got one side locked up. Who's going to be the other one?
And you think it's going to be Ty Key? Yeah. You hope it's going to be Tyke Smith or Nyland Green. Yeah.
Ty Key or Nyland Green. Do they move Ty Key to safety? Do they move him to free and bring somebody down the box?
I see Ty Key Smith going down into like the star position in some situations
because he does like to hit. I think he'll be one to replace Lewis Seen because he can cover. He's played corner. He's very versatile in what he does. So right now, if it's me, we all know Jackson can play safety as well. He's like you said, Davis and those guys too. But for me, if he can do it, I'm putting Keely on one side and Nyland Green on the other. Jackson's obviously he'll start off at free, just because he's got the experience back there, and Tyke Smith at the star and the strong safety spot. If we play tomorrow, that's what it looked like for me.
And that's a really, really good lineup. You got Will Muschamp helping in that mix with Fran Brown. So, man, I don't know, man. You sit here and say, okay, this group is weird in a sense that it is a strength, but at the same time a weakness of the team, because I think you still got a lot of inexperience that it's gonna have to see the field. But then you turn and look at it, and you've got Keely Ringo sitting there. You've got Tyke Smith, who hasn't had a lot of experience at Georgia, but he's had Power 5 experience. You have Chris Smith, and you have Dan Jackson. You have those guys that are going to lead the group. So I don't think it's a concern, but I do think when you look at our team overall that you come off a dominating national championship team with one of the best defenses in college football history. You have to pick a weakness. Somebody's got to be the weak link. And it's the DBs with lack of experience and just the nature of the position. with giving up big plays.
The right pieces. It's like a puzzle. You got the guys, you got the bodies. Now it's just putting them all in the right position, making sure they know what they're doing. That's the main thing.
And scheme-wise,
it isn't going to change because we all know it's just like at Alabama. Yeah, Golding is a defense coordinator, but we all know who runs the defense. Let's be real. Just like at Georgia, it's Coach Glenn and Muschamp, but we all know who runs the show over there, really. Yeah. The philosophy and the scheme is not going to change. It's the point of putting them puzzle pieces together to fit the philosophy that you have. And
what we were able to do last year with those guys emerging, I think you saw it early in the year where they were a little bit more conservative, played a lot of man, but a little bit more conservative. Like you have to protect somebody like Latavius Brini, and then William Poole came on, and you were able to get more aggressive and more creative. I think as we go, they're going to try to see how fast they can get creative coverages, like almost like the football version of boxing one, where you have Keeley pressing and you play like cover 3 behind him or something like that, where he's straight man to man, but you're playing cover 3 behind him. So it's like kind of like a more creative version of cover 6, where instead of having him in cover 2, where you play quarter half, you're going to essentially play cover 3 with man underneath, and that might already have a name. That might already be cover 7, but you're going to be able to do some stuff like that, because I think you're going to be able to put a more athletic guy at the star position, whether it's a Javon Bullard or Tyke Smith or even Nyland Green until he gets his feet wet. Just some things like that. I think with personnel, you're going to have some different people that can play a lot of different roles, and I think we've done a good job of recruiting to that, to where we can have guys that can play multiple roles and are athletic enough to cover in the slot, physical enough to play in the box, and some of them nimble enough to play outside that corner.
I think it's going to get to the point to where you can go dime coverage, nickel coverage, nickel package, and you put those guys in and you don't skip a beat. You get a guy that can come in and be in the box because he's a bigger body.
Yeah.
They can take the tight end. But like say if we're playing Alabama first game of the season, we all know they're going to try to run the ball this year. That's one thing that Nick Saban said they're going to try to do. But we also know they can throw the ball. They go 4 wide and they can throw the ball too. So, a good nickel package coming in. They go empty. You can put a little dime package in there as well. Just kind of mix everything up, and I think you just use all the bodies you got. Like I said, next man up. It's a next man up mentality right now, and you're going to compete. That's one thing I know they're going to do. They're going to compete.
Yeah.
And the best guy is going to win. There's a reason why Jackson's playing free safety. I mean, is he the best out there? Most athletic? Probably not. But does he know what to do? Yes. That's why he's playing.
Yeah.
So, you can say what you want to, but, the kid's smart.
Yeah. What can you do, right? You gotta, again, it's going to be that group excites me the most, because it's going to be a work in progress. You're going to see this, like the offensive line under Coach Searles and the defensive backs with new scheme and new leadership with Fran Brown. I think these two groups are exciting because you're going to see the most tangible improvement with these groups. Like wide receivers, you're not going to see they're going to improve, but you're not going to see it because they're good, right? Yeah, Eric Gilbert, Ladd McConkey, A.D. Mitchell, like they were electric last year. So are you really going to see it? Yeah, you and I might see it, but the casual fan's not going to see it. The casual fan is going to see this offensive line from week 1 to week 12 just mauling people and getting better at it each week. You're going to see this defensive back group give up some plays early, give up some shots that they shouldn't give up, and then you're going to see it start to clamp.
Yep, I think we're going to play more aggressive. We're going to play more aggressive, and then all right, you're going to take your whipping a couple times, and then you're going to figure it out. Because we have too much talent in that room to just sit back and play zone all day. Yeah,
and that's exactly
right. We're really good at zone. We're good at playing man and letting these boys play football.
Yeah, because we're so good up front that we don't have to cover for very long. So if we're playing man, if we're playing not necessarily press, but not off man either, kind of somewhere in between, even press, whatever. If we're up tight and playing man, it takes away the quarterback's ability to just catch and throw.
Mm-hmm.
And we're good enough up front with the linebackers and D-line that they can't sit back there and pick us apart.
Yeah, somebody's going to be there.
On occasion, they will, because, again, the game of football, you're going to have good plays, you're going to have bad plays. But for the most part, for the greater percentage of the time, those quarterbacks aren't going to have time to throw. These DBs are going to be blanketing. And, of course, sometimes they're going to get loose, and that's going to happen. That's fine. But I think you're going to see a better overall product because we're more of a focused man coverage team because we can bring pressures and get home. And we have the talent to do it. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm so glad that Kelee Ringo stayed healthy all year, knock on wood. I'm so glad that he showed out because I knew he could. We were excited about him and he got hurt. So, hallelujah, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I'm excited about the DBs. Anything else with this group or anything else with defense in general? Like, do we, scheme wise?
To see what the linebacker crew would start coming in. I know we'll dive into those at a different date, but we know D-line, we got a lot coming back. We lost a lot, but we got a lot coming back as well.
Yeah.
But the great thing about that group is all of them played.
Yeah.
They had a constant rotation. You could see Kirby on the sideline. That's the great thing about cameras. You can see him saying we need fresh guys all the time. They were just rolling guys in. I'm interested to see what this linebacker crew does with us losing, some of our top guys. So who's going to step up?
Right.
Who's going to be the leader of that group? Because when you lose a guy like Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, and all those guys, I mean, you're losing a lot. So that's really the group that I'm interested to see who's going to step up. Not just from a talent standpoint, but just from a leadership standpoint of who's going to step up and kind of take over in that group.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, and that'll we'll preview the linebackers more in depth on a different episode. But going back to the DBs, DRN Kendrick, where does he get drafted?
I think he's a third-round guy. I think early on, especially when I was there when they played South Carolina and things like that, he got beat a couple times. Just from a lazy standpoint, but then he got better as the season went on, season progressed, so he stocked it up. I think if he just keeps working, I think he's a third rounder. He may surprise some people just depending on what they need.
Right.
He's a smart kid. He's a very smart kid. He's going to give you all he's got. But I think the dog in him kind of came out later on in the season.
Yeah. He got more focused. It seemed like
he got a little bit better. Yeah.
I think he thought he was going to come in.
Exactly. Yeah. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. He comes in from Clemson, totally different atmosphere. It took him a while to assimilate, I think. It took him a while to get used to Kirby, I'm sure. What about Lewis Seen? Where does he go? Where do you think he ends up? What team do you think he's a good fit for?
Man,
or best fit? I mean, he'd be a good fit for every team, but best fit.
I think he'd be good with the Bills, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I think from a standpoint of that's what they need. They need a guy that can run. They also need a guy that can hit in the secondary. They don't tackle very well in the secondary for my liking. Just from especially watching the AFC Championship game. So I think he'd fit good there. He can cover. And we all know he'll knock snot out of you. So I think he'll be a good fit there. For Kendrick, I think a good fit for him would be Atlanta. I think that'd be a good fit for him. It's obviously not a lot of stuff is expected of Atlanta, but I think it's a good team to get his feet wet with.
I think it's a team that's going to need good DBs because it is a good passing league, or maybe he should go out to the AFC West and join up there. He'll get plenty of work out there. But I think if he comes into Atlanta, plays opposite AJ Terrell, there's not a ton of pressure there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we all seen what AJ Terrell has done with Atlanta. He's the one bright spot on that defense. So they don't really throw to him.
And I think Scene could bring some physicality to an already really good Tennessee Titans defense. They need somebody kind of like that in the back end to go with Kevin Byard.
I think with I forget his name, from the Rams retiring, they're looking for a safety too of that caliber because he was a hitter.
Yeah, Weddle.
Which wouldn't be a bad place for him. That's it.
Yeah.
I was about to say Welker, but I was like, that's not right.
No, Welker's coaching. Welker's with the 49ers coaching. So, but I'm excited for this draft, man. I really am.
It's going to be interesting to see what teams are looking for. I saw my Cowboys just got rid of Amari Cooper. The Bears traded Khalil Mack today in a really weird trade that I don't understand.
Wait, what?
Khalil Mack's going to the Chargers.
Hold on.
Yeah.
How did I miss that one?
Mm-hmm. Russell Wilson's going to the Broncos.
I saw that.
Carson Wentz is going
to Washington. Yeah.
Football team.
Yeah.
The Commanders.
The Commanders, Israel. Get it right.
Look, I just want to make sure that we don't get canceled. So I was making sure at least I said the football team.
There you go. At least you didn't say Redskins.
Yeah, he's still a terrible quarterback.
Yeah. Frank Reich gives up on it. Frank Reich gave up on him. That's how bad it got. Like the one dude that actually believed in him finally gave up on him. Said, I can't do it.
Says about you.
Wow, Khalil Mack got traded. Why?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Bears. One step forward, 3 steps backwards. Always. I guess they couldn't pay him.
Oh, that's it. They might have been a salary cap issue, but
Probably.
The AFC West just got that much better.
God.
Yeah. Now you got him and Herbert.
You got him and Bosa on the same defense coming after
Herbert
you.
Slinging it.
Herbert slinging it. Austin Eckler. Mike Williams just signed a big extension. And then you also, obviously you have Keenan Allen. I guess with the trade's the way they're going, I guess nobody's safe, right?
Exactly. If you want to know how to do it right, just go look at the Chargers.
Yeah. They did it right.
Or the Rams.
Whichever
one you look at.
Yeah, both those teams are exciting, man. The last thing before we go, JT Daniels is on a visit to Oregon State. So,
I think they said Missouri and
West Virginia is also
West
in the mix.
Virginia was in the mix. I figured he'd already be somewhere by now. It's March.
I think he's. I don't think he can go anywhere yet until he graduates. So I think he's taking his time.
Oh, that's right. He's graduating. That's right. He's gonna be a grad transfer.
Yeah, he'll be a grad transfer. So it's not surprising, really. But it's surprising that he hasn't verbally committed somewhere, though.
He's probably keeping under wraps in his plaid suit.
Yeah, maybe he already has. Maybe he's already going to West Virginia.
Yeah, because taking a trip to Oregon State, but Oregon State's they got a new coach this year, didn't they?
No, he was new last year, Jonathan Smith.
Last year, that's right.
Yeah, he did a good job. Took him to a bowl, didn't he? Pretty sure he took him to a bowl. Yeah. So they did a good job. So they're obviously they're not going to be Pac-12 champs anytime soon, but they're competitive.
Mm-hmm.
They're competitive. They're going to make it tough. So
that's for sure.
But anyway, I know you're tired. You got how's mat drills going?
Man, we're getting after it. They're going good. If you follow me on Twitter, you saw me tweet today. I was on there and I saw a tweet from a coach. If any of our fans out there listening, you have young kids, whether girl or boy, that's the sports, let them know. Our teams are going in the morning, and they're sending you home if you can't do it. They're sending you home if you're a turd. Don't handcuff your kid, man. Tell them the truth. because at the end of the day, college is a business. These coaches get paid to win football games or to win basketball, whatever sport your child plays. They're not obligated to play them. They're not obligated to keep them. So if you want your kid to succeed, moving them from team to team ain't gonna do it. Teaching them discipline and good habits right now is what's gonna help them in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. And you couldn't. Hey, I saw that tweet. You couldn't say it better yourself. I mean, those guys are, they got things to do, and if you're not going to be disciplined enough to do them, bye. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you'll be riding that dog back home, as Coach Prime calls it. Be riding a yellow dog back home. So, but that's going to do it for us here on the Believe in Georgia Dawgs podcast on the Believe Network. Also Brinks TV on the video side of it. Partner up with them. Subscribe, comment, leave us a message on social media. Follow us. I've got a new Instagram account. It's more of a professional account for me. It's my content creators account. I guess if I'm going to be a content creator, I might as well get one. That'd be my first baby step towards that blue check mark. So, Coach Corey Burton on Instagram. If you want to give that a follow. That's where a lot of my professional content hopefully is going to go through. All of my grilling pictures and pictures of my kid are going to be at burton.corey if you want to see that. And then, of course, at Coach Burton 36 and at Believe in Dawgs on all social media accounts. You can follow stuff specifically geared towards this show. So we hope you have a great weekend. I'm headed off to spring break, so I will not be here next week. If Israel wants to steer the ship for a week and get whoever he wants to join him, that's fine by me. Otherwise, we're going to take a spring break and we'll come back and see you after that. We hope you don't get any phantom over 30 injuries, like knee pain because a cloud moved in front of the sun, or you sneezed and now you threw out your back for 2 weeks. Those type of things.
I've done that too.
Yep.
I have done that too.
Yep. You swallow water the wrong way, and now you have asthma for 3 days.
Exactly.
Stuff like that happens.
It's hard out here for us elderly 30-year-olds.
I know, especially when you're 38, man. It's hard out here for a 38-year-old. A 38-year-old trying to play basketball like he's 23 today. We killed the students. Obviously the first game. Now I did the ultimate mind trick here. Okay, we played them. First game we won. We won 24-19. First game. They got on us early, and actually no, we won 24-20. 24-21. That's what it was. 24-21. Won by 3. Now, what did I do? Within earshot of a couple of their players, because I knew we were going to run it back. I said, "Yeah, how about that ass kicking we gave them?" And so they're spending their whole time trying to defend it, like, "Well, you only won by 3." Like, I totally got in their head, right?
I won. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I said, I didn't even say anything. I just let him go on, and then we won 22-8 the next game because they were pressing, trying to shoot threes and knock us out early. They were going for haymakers early, and we understood the assignment. We got the ball to our best player and let him go to work. I hit a 3-pointer, and that's all she wrote.
Made it rain. That's all that
made
matters.
It rain. I mean, and it wasn't like a rattle it in. It wasn't like a bank. I mean, it was straight twine snapping.
Money.
Left my hand. I knew it was good.
And then I beat our quarterback in quarterback competition today.
There you go.
The receivers, I almost made him cry.
Can't take on us old folks, man. You just can't do it. It's dangerous.
I'll probably regret my elbow hurt tomorrow, but it felt good. He was trash talking me all day. So I told him, run it up.
It's worth it.
Let's do it.
It's worth it. It is well worth it. So, but anyway, like I said, we are the Believe in Georgia Dawgs podcast on the Believe Network. Brinks TV as well. We hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you back here next time. We'll see you when we see you. For Israel Troupe, I'm Corey Burton. So long, and go Dawgs.
Go Dawgs.
This is the Georgia Dawgs podcast on the Believe Podcast Network.